Good afternoon, tribe. My name is Darius Lester, your financial philosopher, and this is Mammoth Money Mindset. And today I have an amazingly special guest, maybe one of the most important guests. This is my actual first client that I've ever worked with. She actually reached out to me before I said that I was going to be a financial coach. And I appreciate her for giving me the opportunity to try to have some sort of effect. Her name is Morgan. Morgan, would you like to say anything to the people?
My name is Morgan. I've been with D. How long we been rocking now, D?
Oh, you mean prior to?
Well, no, just since I've been a client.
Oh, I think it was around June of last year, I think. June or
Okay.
July of last year.
Okay. So I have been under D's or excuse me, Darius's financial tutelage for about a year now. And I'm excited to talk to you guys about everything that's happening. So let's get
Dope.
into
No,
it.
super happy to have you. So yeah, we'll just get into it. Well, I guess other things are so Morgan is in the Air Force, right? I actually originally met her in Tampa, Florida, just happenstance. We just knew some of the same people. And then I think we ended up
I was
we
about to
went to
say,
the
how did we
beach.
be? Were you my
Yeah,
coach?
I think it was, I want to say it was Dana. You remember her?
A Dana, yes, yes, yes,
Hmm.
yes, yes, yes. But what does she have, a kickback or something?
Something, I think, I want to say there was something at a beach.
Oh, I remember that beach
Something.
day.
Hmm.
That's where we met.
I think so.
That is
It
crazy.
is real.
Wow.
Yep. Hey, stuff happens. So yep, that happened however many years ago. And we just ended up just, staying cool, staying Facebook friends. One thing led to another, and then with all this finance stuff, we kind of found a crossing and ended up working together. So as far as that goes, so last year, um, what made you decide to seek out like financial coaching?
uh, because my financial life was a hot mess. I was a very big, emotionally driven financial spender. I bought based off of how I was feeling, which was not a good strategy for finances. Would not recommend. 0 out of 10 stars. Would not
Right.
recommend. Yeah, so just very and so I was emotionally driven when it came to spending. I was an impulse buyer. And in
Mhm.
addition to that, I was also kind of like slightly depressed at the time.
Mhm.
So you add all of those things up together and it is a financial catastrophe. So I was like, okay, clearly I need some guidance. Clearly I need somebody who is more logical than emotional.
Mhm.
And I remember how passionate you were when it came to finances. And I don't know if at the time I felt like you were posting on social, but it wasn't uh I don't know if you were advertising your business or whatever, but the things that you were posting about finances just made me feel like, okay, this is clearly divine. Like I was feeling like I wanted to reach out to you for a while. And then one day I was just
Mhm.
like, Morgan, what you doing ain't working. Reach out to somebody who does know because D seemed like he got it together with the finances. And it's just been up from there.
Hmm. No, that is cool because no, and that honestly, that's the biggest thing that stuck out to me was because I was going through NCOA, and one of the instructors, she was a life coach. So we just ended up just kind of talking about, you know, coaching, starting businesses, stuff like that. And a few people I had helped, in past years said that I should, start charging for my services or try to, make some sort of business out of it. But I just never did for, one reason or another. But after speaking to her, I was like, you know what? Sure, let me try this out. Let me see what'll come from this. And I was trying to decide how I was going to go about, rolling it out because I definitely was posting. I post finance stuff, just all the time, whether it be about stocks or real estate or saving or, just whatever. Anything that somebody might see, like, oh, I didn't know that. That might be helpful. But I had not officially posted anything about, hey, hire me. Hey, I'm, actively looking for people to help, coach or counsel with their finances. And I'm telling you, is either the day of or the day after you popped in the inbox, and I'm pretty sure your message was just like, "Hey, I want you to help me with my money," or something along those lines. And I was like, "That's weird." And but like you said, honestly, I truly did kind of take it as some sort of divine happenstance. It was just like, yep, this is for me. That was my confirmation to start pushing forward with this, because it was like, cool, I ain't even advertised yet, and somebody just asked me to do that. Maybe there is a need out there for some people, so let me, kind of lean into this. So
Mm,
I appreciate you for listening to whatever you heard, to reach out, because that gave me the confirmation to go ahead and try to push through with this.
I did. So if you have a strong inclination, I would go to say, like, if you are feeling like you should do something, you probably should. There's something on the other side of that for sure. So for me, my faith journey began about 2 years ago. And so during that time, I was kind of like in the thick of it, coming out of the depression and all of the things, and was kind of learning to trust God's voice. And so I just believe that if there is something, if there's an idea, if there is something that just keeps coming to you, I don't believe that that's happenstance. I believe that that's him talking to you, telling you go. So I'm happy that I was obedient, and I'm happy that you
Mhm.
were.
Right, for sure.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So, you said that the thing that kind of made you want to start going down the financial journey was you realized you were spending, you just
Mhm.
see junk, you want it, you got it. And maybe a lot of that was derived from, just depression and, habits. So after we sat down, made your budget, got a plan on how we should go about, getting out of debt and, um, being more financially responsible. How did like the first few months of that go? Like, how were you feeling? What were you thinking? Like, what did you feel like you did good? What were you struggling with?
Ooh, ooh. That's a while ago. I wish I woulda had a I wish I woulda had some time. I coulda had all of that for you. I'm trying to go back. Bear with me.
Hmm.
I remember at the time saying, knowing that I needed to get a hold on my finances. I remember my credit card being outrageous, um, and there being a pattern to where I would rate like go crazy with my credit card. I would pay it all down because I come into some kind of money. Either I get deployed or I you know what I mean, save
Hmm.
up. And but my it wouldn't matter because my credit card debt and my savings would be the same, right? So I'd be like,
Hmm.
all right, now I'm back from zero. And I remember like I really needed to break that pattern in some capacity. And I remember feeling like I couldn't really do it on my own because if I would have been able to do it on my own, I would have did it by now.
Hmm.
um, and so I think that that was it. And I'm sorry, am I answering your
Yeah,
question?
yeah, you're good. You're good. Go ahead, cook.
And so I think that that was what was going on at the time. My credit card debt was just kind of like this consistent wave of good, bad, and I needed some consistency.
Right.
And so,
So it's like after, so we sat down, we looked at how much you made, how much debt you had, what your monthly expenses were, while you were living it up in Japan.
mhm.
Um, and so after we got the budget and stuff, was it was it easy? Was it just like, cool, that's all I needed, got a budget, straight path to victory?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay.
The advice was consistent, the emotions were not.
Mm,
And so for me, a big handle on getting some kind of control over it honestly has been my faith journey.
mhm,
Um, Before I was just kind of lawless, right? It was just kind of like I was driven by emotion. So there wasn't anything making me have any kind of restraint. I knew logically and I understood logically that what I'm doing is bad, but the void that I was feeling was louder than my logic.
mm,
And so it was, I needed an authority in my life, basically,
mhm,
right? Because just clearly me doing it for myself was not enough to get it done. And so when I began to like lay my life down quite literally with God, right? He in my scripture and my prayer and all of my things, and he kind of started cleaning up all of those things. Finances kind of was one of the umbrellas that fell underneath that. And of
mhm,
course, like with your guidance, um, it I started having more restraint over those things, right? It still is a battle.
mhm.
Um, like, because we're just human.
For sure.
We have emotions where people
Mhm,
like there are things that are triggering, but it's not necessarily that the emotions or the battle don't happen anymore. Is that I have tools, I have resources, and I have an authority that I'm responsible and that I'm accountable to. So that
mhm,
when that happens, right, it's not just, oh, I'm gonna do it anyway. It's God talking to me, hey Morgan, are you sure? Hey Morgan, is this in alignment with what you said that you wanted? Hey Morgan,
mhm,
you said that you love me, that I'm the authority in your life. Am I really the authority in your life? If you choose to do this anyway, why call me Lord? Right. And so that is what I needed. I really needed a father.
mhm,
And so he has slowly but surely been reeling that in and healing me of all of those things. And that's allowed me to be a little bit more consistent um
mhm.
in this.
Okay. No, I mean, that's great. I think it's really good on you to one realize that what you were doing and by you doing it alone wasn't enough to get you to, wherever you want to be in life. So whether that be, asking for help, whether it be from, from God, from teachers, from coaches, I think that's something a lot of people struggle with is maybe getting on hard times or struggling with things and feeling like I have to fix this myself. I have to
Mhm.
figure this out. I got to do this alone. Maybe some people, maybe it gets to a pride thing. It's like, well, if I'm not doing it alone, it's not the same or it doesn't count. And I don't think that's true at all. In fact, for most of the rich people that I've started to study, all of them have help. All of them have mentors. All of them, majority of them, are religious. I think when you submit to a higher power, that in itself kind of like gives you like a leg up with discipline. Um,
Mhm.
actually, yeah. Now that I'm saying that, I think some of the people that I've met that don't, have any of that type of authority in their life. Not all of them struggle, but a few of the ones that I have seen struggle like really hard with discipline. And it's like I think it could be because there's no like bedrock, there's no foundation to build from. Yeah, I think my faith has like helped me out a lot. You know, try to be a man of my word, right? Because all the power within that. So I'll say things like, I am amazing, I'm excellent, because I am and is, and I because I say these things, it now holds me accountable to behave in a manner. So now, anytime I do anything, I can't like if I'm an amazing husband, I I can't go cheat on my wife. I don't have that option. It's not even a second thought because I so often call myself an amazing husband. I am only allowed to do things that make me an amazing husband.
Mhm.
So I have to, if it's, oh, I can do this thing that'll help me or this thing that'll help my wife. What
Mhm.
would an amazing husband do? Okay, well, I guess I got to go do this thing
Mhm.
that'll help my wife.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, yeah, I do. I think submitting to some sort of authority and then having rules that you start to abide by, and questioning yourself, off of your first initial instinct. I think getting used to doing those things really helps in just all aspects of life, whether it be finances, religion, physical. Most people that really start to get into the gym and stuff, it's because they set out those just like non-negotiables. It's like, no, it's not. Do I feel like getting up this morning? It's no, I have to get up this morning.
Mhm.
Like I don't have a choice. Like I'm
Right.
going to go there.
Right.
Um, so that's cool. I think that's powerful.
And I think also it boils down to identity,
Mm,
from what you were talking about, right? If your identity is husband, father, excellent husband, however you choose to categorize it, it's like you said, like if this is who I call myself, you have something to kind of match off of,
hmm.
right? Every time you have a decision. Because I think for me, what it boils down to is like you get into these waves where it's like, okay, it's a decision. I can go this way and I can go that way. But if
Hmm.
I know what my identity is, if I know who I call
Hmm.
myself, then I have something to match that up. Would an excellent husband do this? Nah. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Would
Hmm.
a for me is child of God, right? Would a child
Hmm.
of God do this? No? Okay, well then, and it makes it easy.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily make you feel good, right? But there's a
Hmm.
standard that you're gonna
Sure.
cross. And so it keeps you, to me, on the trajectory towards what you say you want.
No, I think that's really profound. Um, Honestly, so I've often been called like even killed or so, right? Real
Mhm. You
kind of
one of the most even killed people I have ever met. This man don't when I tell you, don't nothing rattle this man.
You
Yes.
know, it happens, but so like a big change in my life, with how I deal with things and people, I think kind of goes back to identity. So as an example, there used to be somebody I really disliked because, just drinking problems, hitting women and kids, all the bad stuff, right? And I used to strongly dislike this person because identity tells me that a man shouldn't do these things, right? So then if someone goes against what I understand to be, a man or a good man, um, it confuses me, and then confusion leads to frustration and anger. But I guess through my journey, um, I started to realize that just because I have, a thought of what somebody else's identity is, that doesn't mean that that's what they are. They are whoever, whatever, like you said, when you're trying to make your decision stuff, whatever decisions they keep making, that's because that's in alignment with their identity. So if
Mhm.
someone keeps, you know, hitting people, keeps
Mhm.
drinking, making a fool of themselves or whatever, and
Mhm.
they do that on a consistent basis,
Mhm.
I should not then compare them to the identity of good man because that's not their identity. So
Mhm.
now if I recognize their identity as maybe a not good man, I'm not mad anymore.
Mhm.
Because if I'm already identifying this person, I'm like, oh yes, that person's already proven, to be a
Mhm.
not good man.
Mhm.
Now anytime they do anything, it's like, oh yeah, of course they did that. Like nothing, it's not surprising anymore. It's like, okay, yeah, that's who you identify, that's who you've been. Now I'm not expecting you to be anyone different, so I don't have a
Mhm.
reason to be frustrated.
Right. I like that.
Yeah, no, it's been helpful to me. Kind of helped me try to break down stuff and not get as razzled, as I used to.
Yeah.
Um, I used to be. I used to be different. Well, my first
Really?
base. Oh, yeah, man.
You
Well,
weren't
my
always
first base.
even killed?
Nah, I used to be trying to fight people over basketball games. It was a whole thing.
Oh my gosh, Darius,
Yeah,
I
no.
can't even like fathom. I cannot even fathom.
Right.
Yo,
No,
that's a huge transition.
indeed. I don't know, because I guess just how I was when I was a kid, you had to act a certain way to not be messed with, right? So if you did not give off the air that you were, I guess prepared to fight at any moment, then people would be like, "Ooh, I can mess with this person, free of charge."
Mm.
So just being around that for years, I started to adopt that. And I'm like, I'm real standoffish. I got to be quick to,
Mm.
you know, get to my aggressive point because that's how you keep other people from trying you.
Mm.
Um, so that was my mentality for a
True.
while. But then after I joined, just I don't know if it was just the times and me being around different people, learning different things. I I got out of that. I mean,
Yeah.
you
The
can't pay me to fight somebody now.
I was just having this conversation the other day. The military is an umbrella, a subset identity.
Hmm.
I was telling somebody the other day, I'm from the Northeast. I'm from Pittsburgh. When you're
Hmm.
from Pittsburgh, talking junk on people is a love language. And if I
Hmm.
don't talk about you, then I probably don't like you. I'm
Right.
standoffish. I'm not saying anything. But if I'm clowning, if I'm joking, if I'm jonesing, depending on where you're from,
Right.
right, that means that I rock with you. And so
Hmm.
it was a huge wake up call when I joined the Air Force, and people did not appreciate it. If I was sitting next to Shauna and I'm like, girl, what are those? You know what I mean? I'm
Hmm.
going in. It was abrasive to them, and I didn't understand where. I'm like, doesn't everybody do this? Like, how do you
Right.
show that you like somebody? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Oh, you talk. Oh, okay. So I was just like, man, there was a lot of things that I had to shed and let go of in
Hmm.
order to acclimate to this new umbrella of Air Force. Um, Otherwise, it wasn't going to work. Even looking at it now, so many people get ejected. I think for what do we call it? Failure to adjust. Like it's a whole
Yeah,
thing. Like you really do when you take on
it
an
is.
identity, you have to acclimate. You have to change your perspective. Even sometimes you have to change your language. It's
For
not
sure.
changing you, right? But it's the core of you remains the same,
Right.
but you understand that if I'm coming under this identity, it's not just about me anymore.
Hmm.
How am I contributing to this body? How am I contributing? How am I making this thing work as a well oiled machine so that we can come together and get this done? It's no longer about what fits and suits me.
Right.
So, subset of that, I always say this, and you can cut this out if it's too much for your channel, right?
Okay.
I, I always say that I think that Black men
Oh man, hold on.
were.
Oh.
This ain't posted now,
No,
right? So you can cut it
no,
out. It
no.
might be spicy. It
Okay.
might be spicy. It
Okay.
might be a
Yep.
little. You want me to not say it so you don't have to worry about editing?
No, you good. You good.
You know what? That's a sign. Let's just go ahead and
What?
press forward. Yeah, yeah.
No, I was
I
just
don't wanna
giving. I
I
was
don't wanna
just. I
block
was giving
out
you crap.
I don't wanna block out your audience.
Huh? No, you're good. Please speak freely.
There's a certain way that Black men struggle sometimes, I think, when they join the military,
Hmm.
because the backgrounds, and I'm not saying this is all Black men, but a large portion of Black men come from disproportionate neighborhoods and areas, right? So
Hmm.
if you grew up in the hood, or if you grew up in an area that was lower class,
Hmm.
there are a lot of mentalities. There are a lot of survival traits that you took on so that you would be safe. And
Hmm.
so you take the building blocks that you know how best to use, and you try to use those under a new umbrella, under a new Air Force, where it's a cultural melting pot and you're getting
Hmm.
people from all different types of backgrounds. And I think that it's a struggle for them because they don't understand why it's not working. However, a lot of the principles that they have taken from their backgrounds, their survival skills, if they could refine those things,
Hmm.
I believe that they would be some of the best leaders that the Air Force would have to offer. And I think that they are. So like a lot of the black men that I have served under who were higher ranking or who mentored me came from that kind of background. They were able to acclimate and kind of refine those things. The core
Right.
of them, those experiences didn't change, but they now had the ability to take those leadership things and figure out how to make it work in under this dynamic. And so they had that new identity. And I think
Hmm.
people who are ejected can't acclimate, they can't refine it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I'm just taking that based off of what you're saying. It sounds like you took your lemons and you made lemonade, and I love to see it. I love to see black men doing
No, I think
it.
that's completely true. I think I know we definitely see it a lot, like in basic training, because I could just think back, and I mean, even outside of just black men, I saw some white dudes who were clearly taking whatever they was doing, back home, and we in them dorm rooms and barracks and whatnot, and I'm just like, yo, relax, and we good here, man. We
Yeah,
all just we in PT gear, like I don't.
it
It's
ain't that
cool.
deep. It ain't
Yeah.
that deep.
So it is. It's definitely a new change, a new set of rules that you have to kind of take on. Now that you want to be a part of this thing, and I think some people try to fight against that because they're like,
Mhm,
I shouldn't have to change. Don't try to change me and
mhm,
whatnot. But I'm like, change
mhm.
isn't. It's not.
Right.
It's not bad. It's not necessary. It's like that can be growth. Change can just be everything you have, but now we're adding to it. We're giving you another skill set, another way to use what you have here up here. Because I mean, technically, like you said earlier, like having the identity as a husband, as a father, that's changed. You
Mhm,
can't go do the same stuff you did as a single man, with the family. And like, I'm not even talking about like anything like promiscuous. I'm like I don't know. There's some places like I won't even go out like at night to certain areas that I used to go out to, just because of danger. Right now, I'm more concerned about my life right now than I was a year ago. I'm not
mhm,
saying I wanted to die anything a year ago, but before it just would have affected me. Obviously my mom and stuff. If I died, but now if I were to die, my wife's gonna fall under hardship. My son's gonna fall under hardship. I got a daughter on the way. Like, now she's gonna have to grow without a father. So now I'm moving way different than I did last year, because it's like these are all the things that are on my mind. It's like I have to be here. I have to be here. I have to be able bodied, able minded. Because even aside the financial needs and stuff, like I'm supposed to be the protector. If anything
mhm,
happens, I have to be on the front line of whatever's being aggressive towards my family. So it's
mhm,
like, yeah, I have to change that. I can't keep behaving whatever way I was before. And I think that happens to some people. They stumble into fatherhood or
mhm.
stumble into marriage somehow. I don't know how you
Ooh,
stumble
that's
in.
good.
And that same way that some people who like aren't ready to adapt to the Air Force,
Yes, you're
they
ejected.
don't try to adapt to like, no, you have to act different now. You can't keep. I know that was comfortable with you by then, but you're in
Mhm.
this new role, you're in this new life, you have to change.
You
And I
reject
think
the
some people
title,
don't.
you reject the identity.
Right.
Ooh, that's good, D.
Mhm. No, no, that's
Yeah,
that's 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 you. I'm getting this off of you. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
that's
that's good,
interesting.
D.
Mhm.
Change is necessary, period. Change is necessary to evolve. Change is necessary to elevate. Change is necessary for growth. People that you see that refuse or reject it, there's no motion. Change is
Mhm.
life. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And I mean, especially when you're in the military, you see it all the time.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You leave home, you come back. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's, you know how I go.
Yep. You come back, it's like, dang, y'all still here?
Y'all
Y'all still
still
y'all
okay?
still doing the same? Go to where?
Okay.
We went there in high school. What are you talking about? You know, still like, yeah, but they just closed down this, so we go to the one next door. And I'm like, ah, man,
You said we
I
go to the one next door and
yeah,
stop
I
it.
can't.
Yeah,
Yeah, nah, I can't.
I
I
can't.
do. I love change.
I can't.
I love change. I love growth. Like
Yeah,
that's all I want to do.
yeah,
If I stop growing, I'm dying. Like,
absolutely. And I respect you and I love you. Um, I just gotta, yeah, respectfully.
hmm exactly. And that's what it is. It's
Yeah,
like, hey, it's not you. You great. You keep doing that stuff. I'ma just I'm
I'm
gonna
a
be over
great,
here.
yeah,
You know, I see you on Facebook.
gracefully.
Mm-hmm. Gracefully, respectfully. No, that's but I guess circling back, speaking on change. So you were able to conquer your spending habits and debt, right? Maybe.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about it.
Sure.
I am not afraid to get into it. So yes. So when I was in Japan, I spent 3 years in Asia, one in Korea, two in Japan. And while I was out there, had racked my credit card up quite significantly.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, Darius was advising me, and he was just like, "Hey, there is this. What was it? Some kind of debt-free program, or not like
Uh,
some kind of loan forgiveness program at the time.
which one? The
Remember the
military
name
one?
of it? Huh?
You talking about the military one?
Yeah,
Oh, the Service Members Civil Relief Act.
the Service Member Civil Relief Act." And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"Man, I don't never get picked up for stuff like that." And he's like, "Man, shoot your shot. You never know,
Why not? They're
right?"
free.
And so I'm like, okay, I prayed about it. I put it in. I'm like, if it's in your will, God, you just go ahead and do it. So I submitted and, I continue to pray about it because, the word says that you're supposed to believe when you
hmm
ask, you believe and you do not doubt. And I got a letter back like a couple months later, and it was just like, sorry you didn't get accepted for this program. And I forget what the reasoning was. And I was just like, okay, well, I guess it wasn't your will. So I
hmm
continued to press forward. And I want to say, like, another 4 months later, I opened up my mailbox and I got a check, and it was for $8,500 in loan forgiveness for the credit card debt that I had racked up. And I couldn't believe it. And if you want to play the video, you can put a little subset in of the
hmm
video if you'd like to. But I just could not believe that it had happened. I had already gotten the letter saying that I was declined.
hmm
And don't worry about it. So to just see the way that the Lord's hand worked in that moment, I was so thankful for taking heed to Darius's advice, for the way that he used you in that moment, and just that it happened. And so it was what's the word I'm looking for? Confirmation to me that I was on the right path. Yeah. So where should we go from this? Should I talk about how I kind of backtrack, or
Sure. Yeah.
okay.
What's this? The
So
whole story.
pretty
hmm
much got all the way down to like it being completely paid off. And then I got orders to come back to the States.
hmm
And so when I got orders to come back to the States, it got a little bit harder not to fall back on that credit card, right? Because I have my routine, I have my structure, but how do you do with the routine and the structure now when you're put placed in a different situation? Right? So
hmm
your bills are different, the companies are different. You are getting more like things are shifting, but you still have
hmm
to be disciplined in your regimen, right?
Right.
And so I started racking it back up, unfortunately. The only difference about it now is that I have experience, and so it's already better. right?
Mhm.
I understand and I know what I have to do. I have the tools and I have people, but most importantly, I have God as my authority, right? And so I don't even think that this is necessarily a bad thing. I think it's a part of the journey. He
Mm.
wants to show me and teach me how to be consistent even when things are moving. And so I'm grateful in this period, in this season. I was listening to this sermon the other day when this woman was talking about her she used to play ball and she was really good at free throwing when it was just her. She was all day nothing but net. And
Mhm.
her dad was like, "Hey sis, you can be good when you throwing, but how are you when you have opposition?" And so he
Right.
would go over to her and he'd knock it down and she was getting frustrated, right? But it's just like, I feel like in that way, my father is trying to teach me the same thing. Okay, sis, you good while you standing still, but who are you when I start throwing you opposition?
Mhm.
Right. And so that's where we're at currently as he's teaching me diligence in that regard. I'm sorry. 1 second. I have the first art shirt phone and
Yep.
I'm getting
Hey,
some text messages. So
hey,
you know how
go
that goes.
ahead. Go ahead, shirt. You good.
Where were we?
All right. So we were talking about not a dad, moving back to the States, getting back into that. But I think you failed to mention that a large part of that is a house.
Yes.
Mhm.
Hey. Oh, before I left Japan, I was talking to a coworker. They were like, "Hey, you have a whole VA loan. Why are you even looking at an apartment, sis?" I was like, "Because homes are scary." And she's like, "You're literally paying more money and wasting more money to rent an apartment than you would if you were to purchase a home. And you're going to have a little chunk of change when you move, should you decide to save." I was like, "Bet, say less." And I just started doing the work. I made a decision. Of course, I prayed about it, talked to God, is this cool? And made the decision that when I got to my next duty station, I was going to go hard with finding a home. Even that situation was not like linear, right? It was kind of like
Mhm.
this, but I was committed. Before
Mhm.
I even touched down, before I even came boots on ground, I'm studying, I'm researching, I'm doing all of the things. I found an amazing real estate agent who was so incredible. A couple months later, what is this? I got to my duty station in June. It's what now November. And as of 7 days ago, I am now the proud owner of a fourplex apartment building. So
Ooh.
hey, hey. So there is some debt.
Mhm.
There is some debt that I've had to acquire, especially with the things that I am looking to do and the moves that I'm trying to make. I'm turning two of the units into turnkey units, and that does take some investing. So I appreciate that. You being a little
Mhm.
hard on yourself, don't you think? So
Yeah, like
thank you.
yeah. No, we're good. I think it's important to speak on that. It's super important actually.
Yeah.
But I think it's great to hear that, struggling, depression, and debt, started working on it, working with God, working with Darius, working with yourself, and then, getting out of it, and then, moving, getting a house, getting like going from being in a debt to purchasing not even a house, a fourplex, it's like four houses, really, really honestly. So that's humongous. That
Thank
is, I don't own a fourplex. Like you up here.
you. Went
You
from
way
zero
up.
to 100 real quick.
Uh-huh. For sure. And I love that you said you decided.
Mm.
Um, because Myron Golden, I be talking about him.
Yeah, that's his dad.
He
That's his dad.
he be talking. So he hits on that pretty often. He says the problem with a lot of people is that they choose to do things instead of deciding to do things.
Mm.
Because he was like, when you choose to do something, you're like, yeah, no, I chose this. And it's like, no, I'm gonna go choose something else. But he was like, when you decide, when you decide, like that's what you're gonna do. There's no going back on it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's like that's to death. Like you made a decision. You're going to go do that thing.
Did you say
Um,
die side?
yeah,
Can you speak
I forget what the side was. He says it better. Go
that?
listen to
Okay.
him. But
Yeah, I was about to say, it
yeah,
feels like there's something there. What that mean?
no, there is. I'm just not as good as him.
Okay.
But yeah, like with if you go back to the roots and how they came up with the word decide, like part of it is like die and something else was like commit
Mm.
or something like that.
Mm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
like
it kind of
it's
you as you think about it, kind of so if die, I'm medical, so if die
mhm,
is two, right? It's dual. And
mhm,
side is you're either on this side or that side. That means that you're
mhm,
not even taking this other side into consideration anymore. There is only
mhm,
this path. I'm not even coming up with a plan B because my this is now the way.
right.
And so that makes perfect sense.
So that's yeah. So I like that you said that because that's something I've been trying to be more intentional with lately. When I'm kind of making my decisions on like I don't know if I wanted to do the whole renovation thing or honestly with a lot of stuff in life. I think when I reached my best fitness that I've been in my life, it's because I decided that I'm going to work out 5 days a week for the next year or something like that. And it was like I don't I don't have a choice. Like I said I'm going to do it. I'm a man of my word. That's my identity. So I'm going to do whatever the heck I just said I'm going to do. Same thing with the house thing. I was like I'm going to renovate a house this year. It's
Mm,
not like I'm thinking about renovating a house. I might, but it's like no, I'm going to.
yeah,
So it does. It adds an extra level of commitment and really honestly really just gets you there. It really makes you do whatever you decided that you were going to do.
yeah.
So I do. I like
I
that.
like that philosophy. That I'm gonna have to put that in my Rolodex. I like that.
Hmm. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is good. I like it. I like it. So before we wrap, what's uh what's next for you?
What is next for me? I am getting ready to get into content creating.
Mm.
So, as I'm sure you know, video editing is not for the faint of heart.
Oh man.
It is not for the weak of heart, and I am starting to understand. I think that I should have been doing what I'm doing now a long time ago. There are so many
Mm.
times now that I know God was talking to me, and I just was not listening to it. And so, if you are somebody who's young and listening to this right now, please trust the voice that you hear telling you to do a thing. Whatever your identity is, you are a human being on this planet, right? That means that there are some things, there are inalienable rights that you have. And if you have an idea, if you have a thought, that is a gift that has been planted inside of you for you to cultivate, for you to nourish, for you to press out. Don't wait. Don't hold off on that thing like I did.
Mhm.
Please start sooner. God gonna work it out. He gonna make sure that you straight. He gonna get all of
Right.
that in line, right? But trust the idea that has been given. It's divine. We all have gifts. I don't care who you are. There is something that you do that has been placed inside of you to execute. It is upon you to decide to do it or not. And I promise you that when you make that decision and when you trust in the Lord, He will make sure He will go with you every step of the way. It doesn't mean that the path is going to be easy. It doesn't mean that the path is going to be without its bumps, but He's strengthening you in the midst of that because you decided. And so that would be what I would leave you guys with.
No, no, that is perfect, and that's yeah, shoot, that's probably the second or third time you said that. And every time, like the whole, if you have like that feeling or that thought, or you hear the voice saying, "Yeah, go do this thing." Something else I'm working on is not needing a second confirmation.
Mm. I saw you post that the other day. I was like, come on now.
Yeah, because because I do. I feel like now that I'm paying more attention to it, I think there's always like that sign or something will happen that's like, boom, there it is. Go do this thing, decide to do it, go after it with your whole heart. And we let fear and doubt, stop us. And it's like, are you sure that's what I should be doing? Like,
Woo!
do something else so that I know that, like, yeah, I saw that thing, but that could have just been, happenstance.
Yeah.
Like make the sky red real quick. Let me get some other sort of proof, or make this thing happen again. Then I'll go and act on it. And
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, if you weren't acting on it the first time, you
Yeah.
probably ain't gonna act on the second time. You ask
Yeah.
for a third confirmation or fourth, and
Yeah.
it's, yep, just taking that first confirmation, addressing it as what it is. Like, nope, this is something I'm good with. This is something that will help other people. Um, this is me walking in purpose. I got enough confirmation.
Mhm.
Morgan jumped in my inbox. That's it. All right, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's it. I don't need
You
nothing
don't
else.
right. Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's nobody I mean, there's nothing that God can't do, right? But it's not always gonna look like a phone call. Hey,
Right.
Darius Lester, you
Hmm.
need to do this right now. Like,
Right.
no.
Right.
Are you paying attention to this? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Hmm.
So, man, God is so good. Like, to your point, fear is so paralyzing. It's so like, and it's subtle sometimes. We don't even know. We kill our own thought before, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Before we allow somebody else to. And
Right.
so what I'm studying right now in the word is fear. I think I need to have a good understanding of fear and doubt and the way that it shows up, and building up the tools so that I can just start knocking through things. If this is me doing it with timidity and obedience, I can only imagine once I
Mm.
completely like
Oh
just
yeah.
crush fear, how it's going to go. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And so I'm really trying to commit in my Bible study right now to just studying what God says about it, because I'm ready to get it up off me for real
Sure.
altogether. I'm
Hmm.
ready to go. Yeah.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking time out your busy shirt schedule, and yeah, no, I look forward to working with you in the future. Uh, if you want to make a new budget for your new life, I know you're gonna have income, tenants, you're gonna have to put money aside for fixing stuff. Toilets gonna break. I don't know how good you are with those, but it's gonna happen. Honestly, I recently got good at the toilet thing. It's actually not that
Really?
bad. Yeah. Um, it wasn't my choice. Wasn't even in any of my houses. It was in my wife's studio. But I'm a good husband. I have to. She was like, "Hey, this toilet don't work. Do I know how to fix the toilet? No, but I know my wife don't know how to fix the toilet. Even more so than I do. I'm like, but I know I can figure it out. So went over there, looked up all the YouTube videos, went to Home Depot, grabbed the stuff, replaced a whole bunch of stuff, and I was like, okay, that wasn't that bad. So now, you know, in that in itself is, growing me, making me better at a whole bunch of stuff I didn't necessarily intend to get better at, but that is, me walking in my identity led me to growing in ways I was not expecting.
And I'm sure it feels good to fix something in the house.
Hmm.
You did it with your bare hands.
Right. No, I
As
did.
a
I mean,
woman,
I
it's
took
an
pictures.
accomplishment.
I was like, hey, look at that. All right. See that? Go on that. Push, flush it. Flush it. Mm-hmm. He
Right.
was making them noises before. What's up? Come on, man. I'm
Yo,
him. I'm him.
yo,
I know.
yo, as a woman, when I be killing them IKEA projects, bro, you can't
Uh-huh.
be nothing. You can't
Right.
tell me we ain't
Right.
supposed to have dominion, bro.
Uh-huh.
I was meant to conquer. Like, I be like,
It
go,
is.
go tap that desk. It's
Mm-hmm.
doing wobble. Okay.
Yep. That's it.
Yes. Yes, yes,
Mm.
yes. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, nah, it's good. It's good. Life's good. I am blessed.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Morgan, for being a part of this. I know it
Thank
was
you
a
so much
little
for having me.
sudden. You know, you didn't have much preparation time, just kind of threw you in. But you are so very much appreciated. And yep, my name is Darius Lester, your financial philosopher, and this is Mammoth Money Mindset. Thanks.